Coast Business Radio is the home for business from the Gold Coast to Byron Bay and beyond. Whether you're an entrepreneur, small business owner, or just managing your family's assets, the Coast Business Radio podcast can help. Find the resources you need to manage your money, start your latest venture, grow your business, and be able to compete in a global market.
When you're running a business, there's no time for downtime, which is why we've introduced Business NBN. It's the business-grade NBN solution internet providers can customise for businesses, big or small. It gives you a choice of providers, great value, and the potential to connect to technology to optimise your business. And with the option of premium service support available to your provider, it's built for better business. Ask your provider for Business NBN today.
You're listening to the Coast Business Radio podcast.
Black Hops Brewery believe a new state government tax could spell the end. Black Hops Brewery's fire and emergency services levy has jumped tenfold from $2,500 to more than $25,000 this financial year. Dan Norris is CEO of Black Hops Brewery with a background in founding innovative small businesses. He's a man of many talents, WordPress, internet, the works, and now beer. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. You've done your research.
Well, I have a little bit, and it's you have probably the best job in the world. You had the worst IT, internet, just does it ever work properly more than one day?
Well, it wasn't the worst job. I was still working for myself, so anytime you're working for yourself, you're pretty blessed. But yeah, definitely owning your own brewery wins.
Okay, Minister for Fire and Emergency Services Craig Crawford says you're blowing hot wind just a little bit with regards to this new beer tax.
Well, the truth is we don't know what we're going to have to pay yet because we'll know when we get the rates notices. And they don't know either because there was consultation yesterday with government about this and they've been asked that question. In our case, we've got 2 breweries across 5 different leases, which means 5 rate notices. So for us, when we're told it's $5,000 per rate notice, we assume it's 5 times 5, and they haven't told us otherwise.
Bit of a stoush media-wise. Where do you see it heading? I mean, at the moment, you're saying $25,000. That's a lot of money, especially for a smaller brewery, and there are a lot of craft breweries around, so they're all feeling the same too?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not just us either. It's like our industry is pretty good at supporting each other, and if you're a much smaller brewery than us, you're still getting hit with a $5,000 levy, which is an astronomical amount of money for a very small business. And volume-wise against the major breweries, it's just completely out of spec. So I think they've made a mistake and they're realising now, and hopefully they'll come to their senses.
So do you see this being resolved quickly, or is it going to be put on the back burner and talk about it over a beer?
Well, there was discussion of it yesterday over a beer. I wasn't there, but the Independent Brewers Association are pretty active with the brewing industry because it's a tough industry to operate in. We already give up 40% of our revenues on bottled beer to the ATO. So you're starting from a point of it's a pretty tough thing to do to make beer. So when you get imposed with a tax like this, the industry doesn't get too excited about it, especially when the Queensland government have told us they're going to have a craft beer strategy that's going to help us out, and this is the first thing that's happened since then. So I think something will happen. It seems to me like they've implemented this without too much thought or consultation, and they'll change their minds.
Maybe over too many beers.
Hopefully.
And your beer too.
Yeah, well, come to Black Ops any time and drink some of our beers. We've got an 8.7% Super Hornet. It's delicious. Have
wow,
a few of those and
that sounds delicious. So a couple of those, they'll be budget. What budget?
Yeah, well, we advocate responsible serving of alcohol, so I would never do that. But no, I think it is. I think that's all that was really required was for them to come and visit any of the amazing craft breweries that have popped up over Brisbane and the Gold Coast over the last few years, and they would see pretty quickly that these are great people running great businesses and contributing to great economies and don't really deserve to be hit with a massive tax out of the blue.
Okay, 3 guys got together, decided to crank up a brewery. Okay, you had the passion. I mean, which Aussie doesn't have a passion for beer?
That's right.
However, have you found the learning curve steep after that initial oomph? Say, we're going to start this brewery up. You kick it off with an investor of some sort, you get some money put in. How has your, say, perception of starting a brewery and running a brewery changed?
Well, we didn't realise it was going to be this hard. And I think that was a blessing. I had one of our good friends, Hendo, who's a good contributor to the industry, and he said to me at the start, like, it's going to cost you this much money to fill these tanks. How are you going to actually afford this financially? And I ignored him. And if I didn't, we wouldn't have a brewery now. But you kind of have to take a bit of a gamble, and it's been very, very challenging. But we've gotten to 3 years with our own brewery. We've got 2 breweries now, and we're still in the game, so we're having a good crack.
And you're all over Australia, 400 plus bottle shops and venues.
Yeah, we've been pretty lucky. We've had a lot of support from independent bottle shops and venues, and then we've also been able to sell beer into Dan Murphy's and BWS towards the end of last year, and now interstate. So that's going really well for us too. And
a beer called it's a hazy IPA. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, that's, I guess, a style that's come out of America. And when we went there in February last year, you'd go to these breweries and they had like 10 different hazy IPAs on tap. And here you couldn't even get one. So we came back from that and we brought out a beer called Goat, the greatest of all time. We just did it for a bit of fun. We submitted it to the Australian International Beer Awards and it won a gold medal on its first effort. So we thought that was pretty cool.
So what is a hazy IPA?
It's just a really juicy, hazy version of a normal IPA. It's just got a lot more fruit character and hop aroma and less of the bitterness, so it's just easier to drink. And I think they're delicious, and you can do a lot of stuff with them too. Like we've gone all the way to a malt honey milkshake IPA we've got out at the moment, which is just an insane beer. But there's a lot you can do with beer these days.
Would you like a beer taster? I mean, I'd be great.
Yeah, well, come down to Black Ops. That's what the tasting room's for. Like you might have to pay, but it's the same thing.
Okay, you didn't tell me that part.
No, you'd be surprised how many people expect breweries to give you free beer. I feel bad. I just have to say to people, like, it costs a fortune to make beer. I'm sorry, I wish that wasn't the case, but we don't give away a lot of beer. But we've got an amazing group of people who are making it, and they do a great job at it, so we don't mind charging for it.
Staff-wise, how many?
It's about 21 full-time and about 30 total now.
Right. And still 3 blokes?
Yeah, three founders, and we got men and women, we got Brazilians, and we got all kinds of cultures. We got an amazing mix of people. We wouldn't have even, the 3 founders started it, but the staff have really made it what it is. And we've got over 500 investors now, including crowdfunding investors as well. So it's a whole community thing that's no longer just us 3 guys.
Still have the, I was going to say fire in the belly, but beer in the belly?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, what else would you want to be doing?
Okay, exactly right. Again, I have to say, if you ever want someone to do some free tasting...
Right. Noted.
I'm here. I'll drink to that one. And by the way, they are delicious beers, I've got to tell you. Okay, the future. You've just opened in bigger waters. Okay, you're in 400 plus outlets around Australia and growing. Into the States now with your hazy IPA.
Well, we're not selling it over there.
You're not selling it?
No, we're not selling it in America. It's beer is the sort of thing it's actually best drunk locally. And even if you look at brands like Stone and Wood, it kind of surprised me about them that they sell the vast majority of their beer in this area, and they're one of the biggest brands in the country. It's just a product that goes really well locally. It's a food, so it goes bad quickly. Can't take heat, can't take sunlight. It's something that just is not designed well to travel. So it's not impossible to send beer overseas, but for us, the best experience drinking beer is drinking good, fresh, local beer, and that's what we're about.
I never knew beer could go off. I mean, it probably doesn't last long enough in the fridge. That's why I haven't noticed that. But
I think it depends a lot on how much flavour it had to start with. I mean, if it didn't have much flavour to start with, it can last 5 years and it's going to taste exactly the same.
Just as bad. All right. Okay. The future then. Where? What next? What new beers? I mean, you have one called Roseberry Sour.
Yeah, we've got some pretty crazy ones at the moment. We just did an IPA day with 10 different IPAs on tap. We've done this rosé beer at the moment. We've got next week we've got this Stone and Wood Invitational coming up, so we've got a few beers we've put on for that. We've done 100 different beers now in that 4 or 5 year period. We're doing about two completely different unique beers every week. So yeah, we hope to keep that up, but also just get our main pale ales and our IPA and stuff selling as well. Okay, now what's your favourite black hops beer? or all of them? And secondly, how's the liver? Well, you have to get used to working in this industry. There's always a good excuse for having a drink, but I'm drinking a coffee now, so that's pretty good. It's after midday. That is after midday. So that's a good step in the right direction. My favourite beer is our pale ale. It's a really great example of the style. It's one of the highest rated pale ales around. It's won heaps of awards. It's not the craziest beer in this world, but it's our first beer into cans. It's the thing that changed our business around, and it's just a beer that I drink a lot of.
Dan, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
This is the Coast Business Radio Podcast.
At least 35,000 people per day will attend Coolangatta Beach's first music festival, SandTunes, which lacks support from local residents and businesses. Tourism Industry Development Minister Kate Jones said SandTunes would deliver an estimated $11 million into the local economy and generate almost 50,000 visitor nights for the Gold Coast. The two-day SandTunes Festival is on November 30 to December 1. Queensland State member for Currumbin, Jan Stuckey, says locals in her electorate feel ambushed. On the line is local business identity and Café DBar and Baask owner, Steve Archdeacon. Hi, Steve. Now, tell us about...
How are you?
Very well, thank you. SandTunes is creating a bit of a furore in the media and with the locals, and most likely for good reason. What's your opposition for it?
Well, we've been in business in Coolangatta a very long time, and we employ, 50 plus people from Café DBar to Baask restaurant. And look, we're very concerned about the SandTunes concert being on the beach, which is a public beach, and we're very concerned about the amount of people. Now I was the original Cooley Rocks On president. Now I welcome large festivals, but not ones that are fencing off the businesses like they did at the Commonwealth Games. And we cannot afford to have a repeat of the Commonwealth Games.
What sort of planning has been involved in this? It seems like there's been lack of consultation from the organisers with the locals and businesses that will be affected.
Well, we were never consulted. We were simply told, this is last year. It was supposed to go ahead last year, and we were told, here's where it is, here's what's happening, and we were never consulted on it. And they were given 5 years. Get that, 5 years.
Oh.
If this first one goes ahead, so that they can have it every year. Now, I don't know about you, but, there's always going to be winners and losers with these sorts of things, but we're talking 35,000 young people per day, which is 70,000 people. There, like I just said, there's going to be winners and losers here, but unfortunately the losers are going to be the people who are on the other side of the fence, which is us, the businesses.
So, can you see any benefit at all, except for, say, maybe the exposure that Coolangatta may get? I mean, once you're in there, you really can't get out, can you?
No, you can't. There are no pass-outs. Look, there's going to be fantastic exposure. There's no doubt about that, and it'll go viral. There'll be drones. There'll be all sorts of things flying overhead, looking at people. There's going to be 35,000 people on a concert on the beach. Yes, that's going to be fantastic, just like we had with the Commonwealth Games. But if they're going to be bussed in and bussed out, and obviously there's going to be hangers around, I mean, we are very concerned that, they're coming out at 10 o'clock. So who's going to benefit from this? The restaurants can't afford to wait around for them to come out at 10 o'clock and it's game over by 11:30. So who's benefiting?
I'm just thinking, could you just describe, I mean, it's, we've heard, as you said, there's a lot of talk in the media, and locals are talking about it, council's talking about it now. Can you just describe what the imagery will be like?
Well, if you can imagine, the fence line is going to go all the way from Kira Point. I don't know if you know, Kira Point all the way to Greenmount. So the fences are going to go up. So all the people that have already booked their holiday, there's plenty of them this time of the year. They're coming from Canada. They're coming, it is the beautiful time of the year for them to get out of their cold country. So they're coming from Canada, the UK, United States, and they're all turning up going, oh, I didn't know about this.
That's just dreadful, though. And I mean, I've worked in rock radio and top 40 radio and all sorts of stuff all over the world, but I'm just thinking of the noise. I mean, which way is the stage? Which way are the stages pointing? Are they pointing out to the ocean, up and down the beach?
No, the stages are facing each other, which will be north-south. West to east. So they'll face They'll face each other, which is east-west position. However, that time of the year, guaranteed it's going to be blowing northeast. That's what the predominant wind is that time of year, and quite strong. So the noise is going to be blowing back onto the residents. Now,
and
they can tell you, you're blue in the face that, it won't be noisy. Yes, it will. It's a concert.
And I sort of know what sort of music Baask will be playing for those 2 nights. It won't be what you want. It'll be thump, thump, thump.
Look, we love concerts. Don't get it wrong. We've been doing these things here for many years, but we don't have the fences up. That's what we have people able to walk through the city and walk around all the restaurants, the shops, and buy a dress, buy a hat, buy this, buy that. Have a look at this restaurant. Have a look at that. And it's a really great experience. And I'm afraid that the experience these other people, other than the festival goers, if you're someone who's already booked in, you're going to think, what is this place? It's Ibiza.
And it's going to impact Coolangatta and surrounding areas for 20 days, am I right?
It is. Well, the bump in, bump out, you've got 2 weeks either end, plus the 2 or 3 days that the festival's on. So we're looking at 19 days.
That's horrendous. So the fence will be up basically for most of that time too?
Pretty much. It takes a lot to set up this stage and everything. Now, don't forget, this is going to be on the sand. So you've got a lot of people drinking, standing with unsure foot on the sand. There's no pass outs and there is no shade. And it's in the middle of summer. I'm very concerned about people's welfare. Seriously, it's, we're going to have to wait and see what happens, but no shade. And there's no umbrellas. You can't take an umbrella in there. That's out as well.
It sounds like a recipe for disaster, including, there'll be libations of sort. Is it an alcohol-free concert or not?
No, you can buy alcohol in there. It's private. This is a private business operation. CG Dainty and I believe Billy Cross have combined to put this festival on. Now this is a private enterprise business which is selling alcohol. They say, Kate James has come up with a $11 million figure to the local economy. How are we getting $11 million out of this? I don't believe that. And the ticket sales alone is like 14 or 15 million in ticket sales.
Oh my goodness.
And then if you add the alcohol sales on top of that and food sales on top of that, it climbs up to nearly 21 million. So, there's a lot of money coming in, but hello, it's going to be going back out. Hopefully, what are we going to get out of it?
So I've got to ask you, what were council thinking? How did it get through?
Well, your guess is as good as mine, and who knows? We were just told you're having an event. Now, I was at a breakfast with the mayor, and the mayor has stated that they now have an events committee of the Southern Gold Coast. So, and it's a stacked committee, and so all these people are going to start creating events, connecting Southern Gold Coast who used to work for the local businesses, are now going to be working on events.
So what's the
taking over public space?
What's the stance, or what's the thoughts of the Southern Gold Coast Chamber of Commerce? Surely they would have said something and raised their arms in absolute amazement?
No, the Chamber of Commerce definitely does not support this type of event. They feel it's not the right type of event for Coolangatta, that the event probably should be in Seabus Stadium, of which we build these stadiums for these sorts of things?
It's a beautiful beach too. In fact, Coolangatta Beach has a World Surfing Reserve status. It's one of the great beaches for the world for surf. I would have thought that would have been a free beach for everybody to enjoy.
Well, you would think that, and I haven't heard from Andy McKinnon what the stance is with the WSL. They haven't replied yet to what their stand is on is our beach up for sale? Obviously.
It's almost like a mini America. They do this at times in the States and other parts of the world. Thought we were free of that. But
they don't have fences.
No,
and with the ones they do have, allow pass-out.
Well, a couple of things. I could imagine a concert like this, heat, alcohol, other substances. There will be a lot of pass-outs, but they'll be laying prostrate on the ground. They'll be flat out. The other thing is...
We're very concerned about the drug use that does happen with these festivals. That you can't say it's not going to happen, because it will.
Well, look at Splendour on the grass. Same thing happened.
Correct.
There.
So we we can't afford Coolangatta businesses. Another Coolangatta. If we get labelled that again, it takes 5 years to get away from that.
That's terrible.
And if that happens again, it's game over for a lot of businesses here.
That's terrible. I mean, thank goodness there's no more Commonwealth Games around the corner.
Well, some people didn't survive it.
No,
we're still sort of mopping up after that. So we don't want to see that again, where they bust in, bust out, and the locals get told go somewhere else.
It sort of seems, though, if you think about it, I mean, around Surfers Paradise, you can understand this combination of all the alliances out of one spot sometime next year, I believe. Each area of the coast is different. Coolangatta, the southern part of the Gold Coast, is really, really different. It's right on the border of Tweed, which is these just magnificent forest and stuff, and you've got all the beautiful forests behind and the rainforest and stuff behind Coolangatta. Whereas if you move towards Surfers Paradise, it's, without being mean and nasty, it's a concrete jungle. So maybe they should have taken this into consideration. Sure, it's a nice beach. It's a beautiful beach. It's not appropriate for that part of the Gold Coast.
No, it's not appropriate, and we feel very strongly about it not being appropriate. Look, every young person from 35 under will disagree with me, because they're thinking, great, we've got, Splendour in the grass on the beach at Coolangatta. They're going to love it. But they don't own businesses in Coolangatta. They're not concerned about, the bump in and bump out. They're not concerned about the fences. They're not concerned about the road closures, which is going to... Seriously, the local hairdressers here, the local businesses here, they're going to have nobody go to their businesses because they can't get here. You're blocking it off.
And they would find that the people are just pulling their hair out, so there's no hair to do anyway.
Well, they're going to lose out that weekend. They may as well close their doors and say, we're going away for the weekend.
And it's the busiest time of the year, or getting towards the busiest time of the year, with schoolies around the same time. It's something we just, I believe, don't need.
Schoolies on the same weekend. Are they nuts? It's going to be crazy. I'll tell you now, I have had Café DBar for 13 years, and you know what? We have all the mums and dads come and stay down this end of the coast while their children are up the other end, because they don't want to be in the zone, but they want to be somewhere, they want to stay close by in case there's an incident. So they stay down here and enjoy what we have here, and what we've fought very hard in a long time. I've lived here all my life, and we've fought a long time to have a reputable beach, surfing area, restaurants that are all, we're already booked, pretty solidly around that time of the year anyway.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see what unravels. Doesn't look all that promising. Once a contract's in place, you really can't do a whole lot about it, and let's just keep our fingers crossed that it's not another Commonwealth Games fiasco, which really hurt businesses, because business can't afford these interruptions, can they?
No, they can't. And if it becomes another Commonwealth Games fiasco, plus, on top of a fiasco, plus it could end up with, there could be, there could be fights in the streets. The police still don't know how they're going to deal with this situation. There's a lot of people.
Look, we'll have to keep in contact, do some more of these, chat, find out what's happening. You have your finger on the pulse there for Coolangatta and surrounding areas. Great talking with you, Steve. Have to have a coffee to calm down at DBar, or maybe pop into Baask and have a glass of wine and just ponder our future. What do you think?
Absolutely. Look forward to it.
Steve, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
In Australia, more hours are lost in the workplace through mental health problems than for any other reason. We have to change that. Lift the Lid on Mental Illness is an Australian initiative to prevent mental illness through research. And through Lift the Lid's Adopt a Scientist campaign, you'll be able to choose an area of mental illness research that you wish to support. It's a Rotary project. 100% of every donation will be used for research. Go online, Lift the lid. Australian Rotary Health.
You're listening to Coast Business Radio with Mike Ryan.
Ilona Teremi has built a business from start-up to success. She's had a long exposure in the retail, manufacturing, insurance and the legal sectors and has been an advisor to many clients, boards and committees. Ilona is a franchise owner of BNI, a well-known business networking group that is a phenomenal worldwide success. In 2018, BNI chapters generated over $15 billion in closed business for BNI members, which is simply outstanding. Ilona is an owner of BNI chapters for the Gold Coast and Tweed regions. Congratulations on all the success and welcome.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Tell us about BNI. Networking is such an important part of doing business. So tell us about BNI and BNI on the coast.
You know what, BNI in simple terms is really about people supporting people and people supporting each other in business. Mm-hmm. And I love seeing that, and I see that every week in our chapters, and that's essentially what it is. It's really, really simple. It's just building those relationships where we can rely on each other in our businesses and help out each other's businesses grow.
And you mentioned the word relationship. That's an important part in business which many businesses fail to appreciate.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think, in BNI, it's not necessarily the short-term relationships. No. It starts there, but it's some really long-term relationships. So it's very much an investment into building relationships that you'll have potentially for a lifetime. And I know that members have that already here on the Gold Coast and Tweed Shire.
So how did you become so involved with BNI, from going to the meetings to being the head BNI honcho on the coast?
Do you know, I actually came across BNI through a girlfriend of mine when I was in Sydney. I'm a commercial lawyer, that's my background, and she was in law as well. And she said to me, "Ilona, you need to get into BNI." And I said to her, "What on earth is that, Cara? I've never heard of that before. What are you talking about?" She said, "Well, I'm in a group. It's been really good for me, but I think you're going to have problems finding a space." I said, "Okay, I'll investigate." So I investigated, and it said Business Network International. And I thought, where have I been? Why do I not know about this international business network concept? So fair enough, couldn't find a space at all. And I found a new group that was forming, and that's basically how I started my BNI journey, through a new chapter that was forming. Otherwise, I wouldn't have found a vacancy.
9,000 chapters worldwide at the moment, which is just phenomenal if you think about it. The makeup of BNI itself, a chapter, tell us about that. I mean, it's unique, isn't it?
It's unique, and each chapter is unique. So each chapter is the same. We run the same meeting agenda, but the mix of businesses in each chapter is really different. But there's a lot of niches as well. So there's still some traditional businesses in there, lawyers, accountants, trades, but there's also some real niches. We have the most recent member is someone who repairs trailers.
Oh, wow.
So we have some real niches coming out, and I just love seeing those because they're so unique, and often they're the businesses that we struggle to find. So to have them start to come into our chapters is really exciting for me.
So how do they get business? Okay, say for example, if I was a plumber and I said I'm going to become part of BNI, how do I get business from becoming a member of BNI?
So each week you get an opportunity to talk about your business for up to 60 seconds. And you basically educate on what you would do as a plumber, how you can solve problems, essentially. And on rotation, in your chapter meeting, every, say, 3 or 4 months, you'll get an opportunity up to 10 minutes to talk for a longer period of time about your business. But other than that, outside the chapter meetings, you actually get to catch up on what we call one-to-ones. And honestly, they're just business meetings with your members. So you catch up with your member and you spend this one-to-one time with them, learning even more about how you can find referrals for them, but how they can find referrals for you. So there's lots of different levels about how you get business.
Ivan Meisner is the founder of BNI, and when we spoke with Ivan some years ago, and he's talking about networking. Tell us how important networking is these days.
Networking for me is really about active listening and about just meeting new people and hearing their stories. So just listening to, why they're in business, how did they get into business, what they love about what they do. So I love just learning that, about that with new people that you meet at the networking.
Because if people think, and still do, that you'll be walking down this hallway and somebody's going to jump out from a wall and go, hello, here's my card. It doesn't work that way.
It definitely doesn't work that way.
Okay, what about the principles of networking? There's the right way of doing it and the really bad way of doing it.
And the bad way is obviously selling. That's hard, when someone's trying to sell something to you and they've not really built that relationship with you. That's really hard, because your natural resistance is to say, I don't really know you. Where are you coming from with this? Let's sort of build some rapport at least to start with, and let me know if let me work out if I like you. It's really so much about know, like, and trust. Right? We've got to know someone, because we hand over money to people that we've got to trust with that money and trust with our business and our reputation as well. When we're referring members to our immediate family or friends, we put our reputation on the line. So it's that rapport and that relationship is so important. So we can't go in and sell straight away. It can't work like that.
As a commercial lawyer and as the head honcho on the coast for BNI and as a long-term member of BNI, you would have seen some really bad stories or come across bad things happening to businesses and good things. If somebody was thinking about going into business or they've been in business for a while, what are a couple of the main or most important things of being in business, like, for example, compliance and stuff? We sort of throw those things out. So if you were to give advice...
You know what? The best thing that you have in your network in BNI is, if you're not sure about something in your business, and it could be in any facet of your business, you have, well, especially here on the Gold Coast, you have up to almost 500 people now that you can ring at the drop of a hat and say, hey, what do you think about this? And that's because we know we can just ring each other and help each other. And at least we've got a starting point, at least if we know we've got some help. Or when we're listening to each other's weekly presentations, we educate on those little tidbits that we need for business. So an accounting member, for example, might give a little piece of accounting tips or information, and the member in the room listens to that and go, I didn't realise that, I'll have to go back and look at that for my own business. And then they can explore that further with the accountant. So there's so many little snippets of information and education that members get just from listening to their weekly presentations.
And the communication and the relationship aspect of business, very important.
Well, just to have that support network is huge. That support network here, I know when I moved here 6 years ago, I know without BNI, there's no way I would have established myself into the community as quick as I did and as well as I did without joining my chapter straight away. I found the perfect fit for me and applied straight away and was successful, and that really helped me settle into a brand new community and a brand new business that we'd just bought when we moved here. So it was just huge.
If somebody wants to find out more about BNI and BNI on the coast, how do they do that?
They can email me or they can go onto the website. So it's www.bnigoldcoast.com.au. And they can look at all the chapters in the region and have a look at the type of diverse businesses in each chapter, and our contact details are on the website as well. So love to chat, and we do that quite often, just always talking to prospects, and they have the same questions that you have, and I love helping them with that.
Absolutely fantastic. I'm sure Ivan would be very proud of you, or Dr. Meisner, Dr. Meisner, or a magician. If he's listening right now,
amazing.
We believe he's one of the great magicians of the world. How's that?
Sounds pretty good to me. He's created BNI. How that?
That's right. Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
It's just doing good business.
Amazing.
Ilona, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark.
This is the Coast Business Radio Podcast.
Danny Woolbank is principal of Remax Property Centre in Broadbeach Waters. Danny has been a leading agent for many years before opening his own real estate agency with the #1 global agency Remax Property Group. With over 14 years of industry expertise and many hundreds of sales behind him, Danny is a firm believer in the importance of determination, patience and knowledge in finding success. And Danny, welcome.
Hi, how you going?
Great. Now, okay, everybody wants to live on the Gold Coast. How strong are the sales right now? Is it there's a trend around other parts of the country? In Melbourne and Sydney, it's sort of iffy. Gold Coast is how?
I think the market everywhere had a bit of a downcline, and certainly over since the election, interest has certainly picked up considerably, and I think that's just going to continue to get stronger and stronger. Historically September through to February is always strong on the Gold Coast because there's people moving here, transferring for work, etc., and they want to be basically, I suppose, in a property settled before Christmas so they can enjoy Christmas in their new home, or settled just after Christmas so that the kids are ready to go to school. So I think we're in for a really strong run. In your experience, where's the main drive or demand coming from? Is it local? Is it Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne? So at the moment we've got a bit of a mixture. At the moment it seems like locals are sort of are either upgrading because I suppose that it seems that they think prices have come off and it's a good time to be buying. We're also seeing southerners buying here that they're looking to sort of retire here in whether it be 2, 3, 5 years time, so they want to buy something now at a price that they think is at good value, and then come here and fully renovate and I suppose just enjoy the climate at that stage.
What are they looking for in a house when everybody wants to live by the beach, but you really can't unless you have an apartment mainly, or you want to pay 15, 20 million. And I left my checkbook behind, so look, I won't. But what are they looking for?
Yeah, I suppose Broadbeach Waters here, where our office is really popular for families. I suppose you can either ride your bike to the beach, or you can, if you like to walk, you can certainly walk there. So Broadbeach Waters has got a mixture of mainly families, and I suppose a lot of people have been here for a long time, and you find probably the older ones who are looking to retire, they still want to stay in Broadbeach, so they're selling their big homes and buying apartments in Broadbeach there on the beachfront. So it's just they tend to stay in the area.
Okay, median price of say for example in your area. How much?
So Broadbeach Waters, like on a dry block, so obviously no waterfront, you're looking at probably around 800,000 for a dry block.
So it's pretty healthy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what about with a water view?
Yeah, so on the water, you're probably median price about 1.2.
Yep.
But that ranges from sort of 1.2, but then you've got Main River where it certainly gets up to that sort of 3 and 4 million,
Okay, apartments. More and more apartments have been built on the coast for the obvious reasons, because demand is probably exceeding supply in some areas because they want that view of the ocean. What about prices for apartments?
Yeah, prices, again, the first thing when the market struggles, prices in units tend to fall off quicker. But now they tend to be building up again. Like we've got a couple of agents who work for us, and they do high-end units, and the demand for that has really picked up. People are really wanting, we're finding 3-bedroom northeast facing or anyway, beachfront units. So the demand for that, if we had 10 of those, we would sell 10 tomorrow. So
again, I left my checkbook behind.
Yes.
Okay, so if somebody was to buy an apartment, there's been some mediocre publicity, to say the least, about apartments, Sydney, Melbourne, Gold Coast, with developers not fulfilling what they were supposed to have done. What should, say, a buyer wanting to buy into an apartment look for? But just to safeguard, cladding or buildings leaning more than they should or whatever. What should they look for?
Yeah. Look, I suppose it's just try and stick to a reputable builder someone who's done quite a few. Look, follow their past, and you'll be able to see that they've been experienced, whether they've done 5 to 10 sites before. Like if they've done that, they're sort of, you'd have to stick with them, because I don't think the Gold Coast has had any issue with the cladding as such. So I think apartment, no doubt, the closer you get to the beach, you're always going to get stronger and stronger growth there. But there's all different buyers for those type of things.
Gold Coast, an amazing part of the world. Some of the best beaches you could ever want to see. Do you think the infrastructure there, though, is there for the increase in population. I mean, all these apartments going up everywhere, which takes a place of a couple of houses, and you've got 300 people living in it. Yeah. I mean, so therefore the strain on the infrastructure isn't there. Do you think council, government is doing enough to safeguard the livability of those areas?
Yeah, I think we're a bit lucky. I think the best thing they ever done was put the light rail in, the G-Link light rail. They originally thought that was going to be a white elephant because it has in other parts in Australia, but it's absolutely kicked, I think, the Gold Coast along, and the quicker they can get the next link down to Burleigh Heads and then down to the Coolangatta, I think the better. And I think that's really eased the pressure on the roads here. So we're still not. It's not crazy traffic. It's certainly getting busier, but I think that's a huge thing that's kept us ahead of the game. Yeah,
it's funny. I'm from Melbourne originally and Los Angeles and stuff. And the other day I was trying to get off Poinciana onto Rio Vista, and I was there for about 20 seconds. I'm thinking, this traffic is just terrible. And it's like, then I thought, hang on, there's 6 cars either way. That's not a traffic jam. Just an amazing place of the world to live. Now, okay, if somebody wants to look at investing in a property, moving to the coast or moving from one house to another house, you're an expert. How do they get hold of you?
Yeah, well, we're at the Remax Property Centre, so we're on the corner of Rio Vista Boulevard and Monaco Street, so right in the heart of Broadbeach Waters. You can either search our website or I can give you our phone number. Or,
but give us your website and phone number.
Yeah, so my phone number is 0414 946 127, and our website is remaxpropertycentre.com.au.
Danny, you should have been here earlier. We had black hops. Didn't bring any of your beer, but have a beer on us and have a great weekend.
Sounds great. Thank you. I look forward to a beer.
You're listening to the Coast Business Radio podcast.
Coffee Sisters at 110 Monaco Street in Broadbeach Waters is a fabulous local coffee haunt. Great coffee, DeBella coffee, great menu, breakfast and lunch, and a great boss. Kylie Jennings, welcome.
Thank you, Mike.
Tell us about Coffee Sisters, the name.
Well, Coffee Sisters is a local cafe in Broadbeach Waters. I actually purchased the shop nearly 5 years ago off the two sisters, and I have kept it at the same name because everyone knows where Coffee Sisters is located on the Gold Coast, and it's just a great name.
So not Coffee Sister?
No, not Coffee Sister.
I think Sisters is great. Okay, great name. Your coffee here is fabulous. The staff here are great. They really interact, which probably answers part of our next question. The secret of being a successful coffee house or cafe?
Well, I think the most important thing is the owner needs to be here, especially with small business these days. And probably the second thing is the service. Customers walking into the cafe, seeing smiles on their faces, everyone greeting, every customer that walks in. Most of our customers are all regulars and locals, which is fabulous. I think we all have like a little family community going on here. So
you do? It's
lovely.
Really amazing.
Yeah, it is good. We and most of our staff do remember our customers' coffees, which is also good too. Makes the customers feel happy and welcome, and yeah, we love it here. It's great.
Let's go back 5 years ago when you decided to buy Coffee Sisters.
Sure.
Any experience before besides drinking coffee?
Not in owning a business, no. I was actually working for a V8 supercar team catering. So,
really?
Yeah, which was great.
Well, caffeine?
Caffeine, yeah.
Gets you
mainly
going.
Working with food.
Yes.
So lots of travelling, which was fabulous. Went to Abu Dhabi and Dubai, which was great. As my daughter was getting older, I started missing her, so it was time for me to stop the travelling and look for something. And we saw this cafe come up for sale, and we did our homework and looked at all the figures, and we went, yep, let's give it a crack. So here I am today.
What about before you bought the business, and then when you did buy the business, and say maybe the transition and a few months into it, what were you thinking then?
I had plenty of sleepless nights, like, let me tell you, going, what am I getting myself into? I was terrified, absolutely terrified. So it's a big thing to do. Moving up from Sydney 9 years ago and having no family support was quite difficult. But lovely. Thankfully, I have a great great friendship up here with all my friends. So loving support customers, which we've become quite close to as well. So,
what about though when you decided to take over the business, and you would have had these ideas floating around in your head, what you want to do and how you're going to do it, and they're wrong how they do it. How has that changed in business from then to now?
Yeah, well, we've added the juice bar in, which has helped a lot. I'm still wanting to do a lot more. We're actually planning, starting in September, to do Friday afternoons and evening tapas. We are fully licensed, so Erin, my head chef, and myself are working on that at the moment and doing a wine list.
Oh, wow.
And some finger food for Friday afternoons, which is also going to bring some live music as well.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, it should be fun.
I mean, after a few cocktails, you'll have everybody singing anyway.
Everyone's singing, hopefully up dancing.
and buying lots and lots of drinks. And food, responsible drinking, of course.
Absolutely.
But your market, I mean, it's not the whole of the Gold Coast, it's not down at Mermaid Beach, it's this neighbourhood.
Sure. Yeah. It is a tough industry to be in, but I think I'm lucky in a way that we are in a residential area, and we do have that support from all our locals, which I thank greatly, and my staff thank greatly. So
where to from here? I mean, you really can't do a lot more. You're going to be here for a long time, obviously.
Yes.
But any other, like a small franchise expedition?
I've had plenty of people ask me, would you like to franchise out? But no, not at the moment. I just would like to concentrate on my little coffee sisters here and eventually do some renovations.
Okay. So. Advice. If I came to you and said, Kylie, I'm going to open up a cafe, and you said, well, maybe go and see a psychiatrist, then come back and see me.
It's not that bad.
But what advice would you give? I mean, if you would say the nuggets, okay, what can we take away from this conversation to help people in business?
Sure. Definitely do your homework first. Look at your paperwork, do your figures, speak to your accountants, get your solicitors involved just to make sure you're doing the right thing. Look at the bookwork, and then just see what else is around you. There's no way in this world at the moment I would open a brand new coffee shop.
Getting harder?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you walk into Broadbeach and it's like a ghost town sometimes.
It is. It's really sad.
Yeah.
They come and go.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I think the tourism's down a little bit here on the Gold Coast. I know a few years ago at Christmas time, over that Christmas break, we used to be so busy every day. And even the last few years has not as busy as what it used to be. We are lucky enough, though, to have a lot of Airbnb houses around our area, which we do have our menus in, which is great.
Oh, wow.
So
good marketing.
We do get a lot of guys come in for their golf weekends, bucks weekends, hens weekends. So
just weekends
away, girls' weekends, which we all love.
What happens on the Gold Coast stays on the Gold Coast.
Apparently so.
Well, maybe not, especially with cameras these days on your phone. I've been sprung.
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned tourism. You're a local, but you travel the world. How can the Gold Coast improve in tourism?
Oh, gosh, that's a tricky question because I'm not really into.
But anyway,
I
being
just
a
think
local,
more advertising and I guess cheaper airfares too to help those struggling families that only earn a certain amount per year. I think the airfares are what kill people these days.
And more shops to stay open too.
More shops to stay open. I guess that all comes down to the actual owners of the premises charging way too much rent. So I think if they drop their prices in rent, they'll see more shops opening and, And also, too, with the drought, everything's going up in price. Produce is going up.
It is.
Milk went up not long ago, and it's really hard as a cafe owner to keep our prices the same and not pop our prices up too much because then you get people turning away.
You do. Okay. If you were somebody was to say to you, Kylie, in a word, okay, there's two questions here. In a word, how would you describe Coffee Sisters?
Coffee Sisters? I would describe it as a loving...
One word.
Oh.
One word
Come
only.
on, no, I can't.
No, cheating, please.
Okay, one word?
One word.
I'm going to say it's fabulous.
Fabulous? Okay. And how would you describe so far your life running Coffee Sisters in a word?
It's been a bit of a struggle. I've had my ups and downs and I've managed to keep through, and I'm lucky. I love being here. It's not only work, it's social as well. So
that word, that one word for that too.
I'm lucky, I guess.
Lucky.
I can say I'm
Kylie,
lucky.
we've been lucky. I've been really lucky. Love your coffee. Keep coming here. Great place, great business, and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
This is the Coast Business Radio Podcast.